Hello my dear viewers, welcome back to Ruhoni Sewing. Today we are going to continue with part 2 of my previous video. On my last video, that is part 1, it was on how to draft a basic skirt pattern. And on this video, we will learn how to draft the basic different designs of the belt. We are going to have only 2 designs or styles, and I have linked the first video in the description box below. So without further delays, please let us start. So before we start, here are the materials needed. We have our straight ruler, scissors, tape measure, rubber, pencil. We also have pattern for our skirt. This one is for the back and this one is for the front. And again we have our pattern paper. So our first design is a straight waistband. I want to show you in the diagram before we continue. Remember, this is our skirt. We have our front piece here, and this is our back piece where we have a slit and a zipper. When we were drawing our basic skirt pattern, we included the whole length. This pattern, we started from the waist to the bottom. We included the whole length of our skirt. So for our design of the waistband, this waistband is usually placed at the waist here. Remember, this is our waistline, and for our back piece, that is our waistline. So this waistband is usually placed here at the waistline. So if we add our waistband, it means we need to reduce the length of the skirt. Remember, when we were drawing this pattern, we did not include or consider the length of the belt. So for that matter, whatever we add at the belt here, we need to reduce at the bottom of our skirt. I hope that is understood. For the straight waistbands, we do not need these pattern papers. We are going to draw direct on our pattern paper. So just to remind you again of our measurements, my waist was 40 and the length of the skirt was 25 inches. So I decided to have waistband of 1 inch. So I will use 1 inch here at the bottom, and I will make a belt of 1 inch. Okay, I will use 1 inch at the bottom. And so for that matter, this is my pattern. This is where our waistband is going to be, at this line. And so at the bottom of this pattern, I'm going to reduce 1 inch. As usual, leave 0.5 inches at the sides of your pattern. So from this line, I am going to draw a straight line which is long enough to accommodate half of my waist measurement. Now let us continue. From this point here, measure 20 inches. That is half of the waist length or measurement, and put a mark. So just to show you clearly, that is point A, where we started to measure 20 inches, and that is B. Again, to clarify, our waist is 40 inches and A to B is 20 inches. On this side where there is A, the fabric will be on fold. This is point A. Or this line, that will be our center front. That's why we measured only half of the waist measurement. Now let us concentrate on point B. At point B, draw a perpendicular line. This B is our center back. Remember, for our belt, we need to add 1 inch more for overlap. So we are going to measure 1 inch away from point B or further from point B and put a mark. And then with your ruler, draw a line, whether a straight line or a broken line. Either way, it's okay. So let me clarify. Remember, for our back piece, this diagram here, let me draw it again. This is where we're going to have our zipper, and our belt will be attached here, and it will look like that. And remember, this belt will overlap here at the zipper. The other one will be at the bottom, and the other one is going to be at the top, where you are going to put your button or the hook. So from the center back, this belt will overlap. You see this part here? That's why we added 1 inch after the center back point. So let us go back to our point A. I have decided that the width of my belt is 1 inch. So I'm going to measure 1 inch up from this line. From point A up, I'll measure 1 inch and 1 inch down from point A. Then, with the aid of your square ruler, square across from these points at the bottom as well as the upper point. Square across. So just to show you, from point A, here are the lines up to point B. So this is our front piece of the skirt. So now we are going to measure the length of our waist on our front piece. Our belt will rest on this line here. That is our side seam. So measure from the side seam. We are not going to measure the dart, so skip that dart and start measuring after the dart, where we have 6.5 plus our initial measurement, that is 3, so we have 9.5 inches. So next, from point A, measure the length of our front waist, which is 9.5 inches. Put a mark. Then take your ruler and draw a dotted line perpendicular to line A. So let me take you back to this pattern here. We measured from center front to this point here, and this is our side seam. So this line here is our side seam. This dotted line represents side seam of our skirt. So when we are sewing the belt, we are going to fold at this line here. It is going to be folded, so our width will remain 1 inch. We are almost ready, and now we need to add seam allowance at the bottom, up here at the top, as well as on that other side of center back. So our next waistband is the shaped waistband, Let me show you from the drawing. I'm going to draw, this is our front piece of the skirt pattern. Shaped waistband are from this part here, that is our normal waistband or waistline, and so the shaped waistband are from here, they are slightly lower. Or I can show you from the back piece, they are above the normal waistline. So we see these skirts or trousers which are high-waisted, okay? And so these kinds of waistbands, the one which is above the normal waistline and the one which is below the normal waistline must be shaped. So in this tutorial, we are going to concentrate on one type of the shaped waistband, that is the one which is placed below the waistline. Okay, so another thing to consider when you are drafting the pattern for your skirt, make sure to include the whole length of the skirt, because for this waistband, it will be made from the skirt pattern. It will be shaped and made from the skirt pattern. So here we have our patterns. This one is for the front and this other one for the back. And I have traced them here. This is back and that is front. So I have decided that my waistband is going to be 2 inches. So now I'm going to measure from this first line, this straight line here, 2 inches, going down. 2 inches, and here is from 2 inches. Make sure you measure from that straight line, and then with your ruler, draw dotted line or a straight line, whichever you prefer. Just like this, we are done. So I did the same for the front piece. I have measured 2 inches and I've drawn the dotted line, as you can see. This is the width of our waistband, okay? So now cut from this dotted line, both for the back and front. So now cut your pieces like shown. So we have already separated the pieces. This is the lower part of the skirt, and this line here is our lower waist. Remember, our normal waist is here, and this is our lower waist. We did the same for the front piece, and now we are going to set these apart, and we are going to concentrate on these pieces for the back as well as for the front. So our next step is to close these darts for the back as well as for the front. So our next step is to close these darts. As you can see, I am folding them, the lines I'm folding so that they meet the other line, but you can as well cut and then join the pieces back. So now it is time to retrace your pattern. Remember, the center back is a straight line, so make sure it is aligned with a straight line of your pattern, and then pin your pattern well. So now start to trace your pattern. You might be wondering why we are doing this. It is because we want to get rid of all the corners that have been created after folding the darts. Take your ruler, your curved ruler, and try to retrace it so that it can be well seen. So here are the pieces. We have traced them to get rid of the corners like these ones. Now this is for the back and this other one for the front. Now quickly let us go back to our drawing. This is a front piece and this other one here is the back piece. This is our waistband for the front and to the back. So depending on where you want to put your zipper, either at the back here or at the front, then one piece is going to be on fold, either your center back or your center front. Further clarification: if button or zipper is at the back, it means for your front piece, the waistband is going to be one piece, which will be joined at the sides. While for your back piece, where you have a zipper or button, it means you're going to have two pieces. This one here and this other one. They're going to be two, joined at the side seam as well as here at the center, either by the zipper or button. And it the same when you decide it to be for the front. Again, when the button or zipper is at either at the front or at the back, you can have the seam at the side seam, join them at the side seam to get one piece. What I meant is, this is our back piece and this other one here is our front piece. So these you can join them here at the side seam to get one piece. So I would suggest that please make sure you are joining them at the side seam here. Do not make one piece of a waistband, because if you want to make an adjustment, it is easier to rip open this side seam and make adjustment both for the front and for the back. But if they were joined when you were drawing the pattern, then that would have been very difficult for you. Now it is time to add seam allowance all around for the back, and for the front we are going to have, for the center fold is going to be on fold, so we are not going to add any seam allowance on that side. Okay my dears, our tutorial is over. Here are the shaped waistband and here we have our straight waistband. Join me on part 3 of this series, where we are going to have a video or a tutorial on how to draft different basic skirt pattern. Thank you very much for watching. See you on my next video.